Hey everybody, so I wanted to make this video, it's going to be a quick video, and I wanted to talk to you about the Virginia state laws and what they consider firearms, what they consider not firearms, and how freaking contradicting these laws are. It's very, very confusing. So, Virginia, to get a gun, you have to pass a background check in state and federal. So, since I don't have to pass a background check, I can just go to Cabela's, walk right out with a 1851 Navy. That means that they don't consider it a firearm because I didn't have to do state background check. Now, is that true or is that not true? Because right here it says antique firearm, and this is the federal law too. This is basically what the federal law says: is any firearm, including any firearm with a matchlock, flintlock, percussion cap, or similar type of ignition manufactured in or before 1898. That's an antique firearm. So that's why you don't have to purchase those, or that's why you don't have to do a background check, because they're antique firearms. Now, it'll say right there, any muzzle-loading rifle, shotgun, muzzle-loading pistol that is designed to use black powder, blah, blah, blah. Let me get down here. It says, any firearm that is converted into a muzzle-loading weapon or any muzzle-loading weapon that can be readily converted to fire fixed ammunition by replacing the barrel, bolt, breech, block, or any combination thereof. So that means any of these combinations consider it a regular firearm, not an antique firearm. But so it doesn't say cylinder, but it does say that if it's converted, if it can be readily converted. Now, black powder revolvers can be readily converted. You just basically buy a conversion cylinder, pop it in, and you're done. That's all you have to do. So does that mean it's considered a firearm because it can be readily converted? Does that make sense there? But if they consider it a firearm because it can be readily converted, then why are they calling it an antique firearm if it's before 1898? Or, you see what I'm saying? It's very confusing. Another thing I'm confused about is there's another law in Virginia. I don't know what subsection it is. I don't have it offhand, but it says that a firearm is something that uses an explosive to shoot a projectile. Well, I don't know about you guys, but black powder is an explosive and it shoots a projectile. So that means that it is a firearm. Do you see what I'm saying? But then up here, it's not a firearm. But then, let me scroll down. But then down here, it is a firearm because it can be converted. But again, it's not a firearm. But then it is a firearm. But then it's not a firearm. But then it is a firearm because it uses an explosive. So, do you see what I'm saying? It's not, but it is, but it's not, but it is. It's so freaking confusing. And the other question I have, or, question that I've been wondering myself for a long time now is, to conceal carry a firearm, you have to have a conceal permit. And it just says firearm. It doesn't say antique firearm, though. But then on the bottom of that subsection, it'll say firearm. And that's the section where it says anything that uses an explosive. That's what it'll say. So to get a concealed permit for a firearm, blah, 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 and then you go down the bottom, it says, see the reference what firearm definition is. The firearm definition is something that uses an explosive to shoot a projectile. So that means it's a firearm. So do you have to get a concealed permit? Or because it's an antique firearm, do you not need a concealed permit? But then again, it is a firearm. And then again, it is a firearm, but then it's not a firearm. So it's very, very confusing. And another thing is, for felons, it says that you can own a black powder firearm, antique firearm, but only use it for hunting. You can't use it for in public or anything like that. You can only use it for hunting if you're a felon. Unlike other states, if you're a felon, you can have black powder and you're fine. But in this state, you can only have it for shooting turkey, basically, if you're a felon. But then, if you're a felon and it's considered a firearm in Section 3, but then it's not a firearm, how you see what it's so fucking confusing. There's something wrong with the Virginia state laws. This is really, really odd. I can actually easily see a prosecutor going, well, Your Honor, in subsection 2, paragraph 3, it says if it can be converted, then it's considered a firearm. So this man, was in possession of a firearm. But then your lawyer can say, well, Your Honor, he's in possession of a gun that was manufactured before 1898. So that means it's not an antique, or it's not a firearm. So it's like, it'll make the judge's brain explode, basically. So you have a defense, but then you don't have a defense because one law says one thing and one law says another. Oh boy.